You're listening to the Wharton Alumni Executive Education Podcast.
Welcome to the Wharton Alumni Executive Education Podcast. My name is Peter Bartek, the co-president of the Wharton Alumni Executive Education Club. I'd like to welcome Peyman Askarinejad. Welcome, Peyman.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me here. It's been an honor.
Peyman is a structural engineer by profession. Peyman is the founder and president of Pan Partners with his expertise in tall buildings. Peyman is a top graduate of the Wharton Business School Advanced Finance program, and Peyman is an expert in tall buildings with over 22 years experience in development and design of tall buildings. In fact, Peyman was the lead structural engineer for Tower 2 World Trade Center. That's quite an accomplishment, Peyman. That's so impressive.
Thank you.
We'll get more into that soon. Some of the other notable projects Peyman has been involved with was the famous Lakhta Towers in Russia and the, how do I pronounce that, Peyman?
Burj Khalifa.
And that's in Dubai.
In Dubai, yes.
And of course, close to home, 66 Hudson Towers. That's quite a famous building.
Yes.
Yeah, so
it's actually under construction now. It's been the structure finished, and now they are working in interior design and facade.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
And is your work there done at this point, or are you still in the middle of it?
Yeah, we were involved for the structural design part of it. Yes, now it's under construction, so the contractor, they are involved in that.
So that's impressive. So today, Peyman will be talking to us about tall buildings. Actually, he'll be talking to us about the Tall Building Institute. So why don't you get started by telling us a little bit about the Tall Building Institute, Peyman?
Sure. Tall Building Institute is a non-profit organization, a professional body for architects, engineers, building developers, and university college students around the globe, and is based in New York City, Manhattan.
And what led you to create the Tall Building Institute?
The Institute upholds standards and webinars, share knowledge, and also providing voice for architects and engineers profession in this field of tall buildings. And the main vision for the Institute is to share the knowledge of the tall building to the younger generation and the students around the globe.
What was the vision, and how come you came about thinking about the Tall Building Institute?
Yes, this is pretty much, I think it's in my blood. So since I was, child, and during my childhood, I remember I was playing with Legos and in the backyard, in our house, and always building, a big house, taller and taller with the Legos, and somehow that was, I think is resonate me to become an engineer and to one day design and build, tall buildings. And as I grew up and also pursue my let's say university and professional career in tall building in past 22 years, involved in most iconic tall building around the globe. I had the fortunate to be a part of those big projects. So I want to create that knowledge and to share it with the younger generation. Somehow it's not going to die somewhere. So this is actually was somehow my idea to create the Tall Building Institute and to bring all expert in tall building field in get together and also bring the young generation students so they can have that access, to other experts, in this field, who they want to know more about tall buildings, who they want to learn about tall buildings. So that's the main reason I created, Tall Building Institute, to have a platform for the younger generation, a place, they can refer and they can come and be a part of that community.
Do you see that being more of the undergrad level at the universities, or more of the graduate level, or both?
No, both. This is something I think we need involvement of the undergrad and grad, and also professors, to get involved, and also the industry profession, architect, engineers, all. To be involved, because it's going to be a place for sharing the knowledge, and also we're going to provide webinars. So then we're going to have special courses in tall buildings. So those courses is going to be online. So we are planning to create a digital platform. So this is going to be access, globally. From anywhere in the world, so students and professors and universities, they can get involved with the institute.
Well, you must obviously have a great network. Where are you getting the network to be able to bring all these experts together so seamlessly?
That's a great question, Peter. I think after 22 years being, working specifically in tall building, you eventually become expert, and all other colleagues who are working in this profession. But we have a Council of Tall Building and Urban Habitat in Chicago, which been established 50 years ago, and I'm proud member of, and also one of the leaders in CTBUH. It's called CTBUH. And also board of advisor for the New York chapter for the CTBUH. I'm board of advisor for New York chapter of the CTBUH, and also leader overall in headquarters of the CTBUH in Chicago. So the CTBUH, I think, is good. Briefly, I just tell a little bit about CTBUH. Also, CTBUH is a tall building, the Council of Tall Building and Urban Habitat in Chicago, and it's where also all profession in tall buildings, they all member of the CTBUH. And what CTBUH does, create international conferences and also some publication, for the tall building. And this is how every year all tall building experts get together. Every year the conference is in a different country, and this is how we know each other, and that's going to be one of my, I think, strength, because I have a great network, so I can bring, if there is a special topic, which we want to focus in tall building, bring the top-notch person to be a instructor for that course, to provide us for that topic and subject in tall buildings.
What would you consider some of those top core subjects would be that are critical for the students to learn?
There are of course many topics in tall buildings, but I think there are several major ones. One of them is, for example, fire resistance and fire strategy in tall building. The other one is wind analysis and wind tunnel. That's another subject in tall building. Then there is a seismic and how to do the performance design in seismic zones and high seismic region for tall building. It's called performance-based design. So that's a very special topic for tall building. And then the other one can be structural system, what type of a structural system you adapt for the super tall buildings, and also architectural aspect of the tall building in terms of the green and sustainability, in tall building. And urban habitat, how to look at that, in terms of when you design the tall building as an architect. So these are very specific topic in tall building. Each one has, like you need to have in-depth knowledge, when you start designing tall building.
Would you say this carbon footprint in green, you hear about that a lot, and you've just mentioned some top areas in the field that the students will be learning. Is the carbon footprint in green also a big issue, or is it just because it's talked about a lot in tall buildings?
No, definitely I think is one of the big issue which we have to tackle on it, and the new generation needs to really work on it more, and to design more sustainable and zero carbon, design in terms of also climate change. We know all this, where the future generation, we have to in terms of the selection of materials, so selecting more sustainable material for your design, as an architect or engineers. That is one of the key component of the design for tall building. So I give you example. For example, to save CO2 emission in using cement in concrete, or you use timber, which recently within the past 3-4 years now we are designing tall timber projects. And the code and the standards are getting up to date, based on the taller and taller how to design tall timber project. Versus you design, steel structure or concrete or with wood or timber. So there are components you have to really make sure when you design it, to consider, all those aspects of sustainability in your design.
With the different designs over the years, have there been breakthroughs in technology?
Oh yeah. Now, if you look at, let's say, 20-30 years ago, we didn't have like a building like Burj Khalifa, 163 floors, which is
that the tallest building in the world?
This is the tallest building in the world now. Wow. Yes. So so there are, another one is going to come up soon in Saudi Arabia. So they are building taller than Burj Khalifa, but it's under design and it's not built yet. So, but now Burj Khalifa is the tallest one, and without new technology, we were not able even to do like that, to accomplish that height. Of course, as the technology evolve, and of course this is going to impact also the design and how the building is going to get more smarter. You come up with more better sustainable design, and also in terms of construction, also how to build it. That's another big component, because what you design is one thing, and what's going to be built is also you have to make sure you look at that aspect also.
It's got to be incredible, the new technologies. Is there a technology that's on the cutting edge that you're involved with tall buildings?
Yes, now based on this new AI and what's happening, with the all machine learning and AI. So, and also with the in terms of design and construction, so there are many new things are coming up. We are working on it with, like, for example, what component of the construction can be robotic, where you can use less, human involvement and use robots, and where our repetitive, works are, and you have a supervisor, as a human, but you can use robots, to make sure those repetitive things you can do more efficient and to use it, and other, technology like drones, and lots of other things which has, I can go with a big subject and topic about that.
Well, what we should do is, I think we should make sure we have you back and just have a topic just on structural technologies for building.
Yes.
I think, would that be a right subject matter?
Definitely, yeah, because that has now, these days, is improving a lot, and there are many areas are working in that subject, so we can definitely, and we are also working in some of those technology, and I'm involved in some of the case studies, how it's going to impact the tall buildings, how we can use those in tall buildings, how we can improve, the construction efficiency, time schedule, cost. I can go lectures, or I can come up with a course for that. Definitely, yes. We can talk about that.
So I'll bring it back just a little bit. I'm curious, where did you grow up?
Yeah, I'm originally Persian. I grew up in Tehran in Iran. And I finished my bachelor and master, and then came to U.S. to pursue my PhD and also to get another master. So this is how 20 years ago I landed to West Coast area in UC Berkeley. So I did my project management master degree in UC Berkeley, and then being involved in most iconic tall building project.
Yeah, I think when we talked earlier, you mentioned you knew you were going to be doing this at the age of what, 4?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, at the age of 4, when I was 4 years old, I was telling my mom and dad. So yeah, because they always knew I'm playing with Lego, I'm building, building old tall buildings, and I said to them one day, yeah, I'm gonna go to the U.S. where the most skyscrapers are, so I want to be there. I was 4 years old, I remember.
4 years old.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're working with meeting up with the University of Penn, and I think there's some interest there in tall buildings. I think you have a meeting coming up with the dean of University of Penn Architecture Department.
Yes, that's correct. Through my alumni with Wharton, so I'm affiliated with the Wharton. I'm gonna meet, with the dean of architectural department to see how we can collaborate and have that partnership with the Institute of Tall Building. And
get the coursework out there for the kids that need it, which is an incredible, it really is incredible what you're doing. Are you reaching out to some of the other universities?
Yes, I'm trying to also reach out to Harvard and MIT and also Columbia University in New York. So try to get them also involved, which I'm encouraging, other university, if they want to get involved, please reach out to me. So I think this is a great platform for the future generation, and this is actually the first institute of the tall building. So
history in the making.
Exactly. So I have a great plans for it, and there are board of advisory. I have some. Actually, my old boss, who designed the John Hancock Tower in Chicago, is one of the board of advisors in Tall Building Institute. So, it's a great place, and I have a fantastic plan for the future.
Well, I'll make a prediction. This will be, in 1 year, this is going to be an amazing opportunity for students all over the world. So
definitely, yes.
So this was just fantastic. Any closing comments?
Yes, definitely. Before closing comment, I just want to say we are committed to making the tall building industry profession more like accessible for the students. That's really my first priority, because students, especially in architectural department and engineering, there is no specific tall building course. There are generic courses, but nothing specific to the tall building. And I've seen many, graduate students, when they join, those firms who they are having tall building project, they kind of, they don't know where to start. And that's always was a conversation. So they dying to have some courses in tall building. So this is my first priority, to make sure, we are committed to have the institute accessible, to the students. And for the closing, of course, as I said, this is my passion. Tall building is my passion, and our members share the same passion for tall buildings and a desire to change the world through the power of the design. Together, I think we are tackling the most issue of the generation, from the climate change to zero carbon, and also fostering resilience, build environment. So that's what I encourage, all the students and the professor from the universities around the globe. It's not just, this is something I'm encouraging all the students and also universities and profession in this industry of tall buildings, architects, engineers, to get involved with the institute and to be like active. This is a great platform, and we have a lot of good plans for it.
Well, that's exciting. I got to say, Peyman, this is fantastic. I want to thank you for joining our podcast. I want to thank the Wharton Alumni Executive Education Club and Wharton Business School. If anybody wants more information on what we just heard from Peyman and tall buildings, please visit ustbi.com. Again, ustbi.com. We'll also be giving more information on how you get in contact with Peyman directly, and some more information on the podcast we had. So I want to again just thank you, Peyman. It was just great having you here and hearing about the Tall Building Institute.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you.